Most people think failure comes from a single big mistake, a wrong decision, a mischance, or bad luck. But in truth, failure rarely arrives with fireworks. It grows quietly, like dust gathering on a shelf you never notice until one day everything feels heavy, dull, and stuck. Let me tell you something real. Every day, people sabotage their own success, not because they're lazy or stupid, but because they slowly stop doing the things that matter most. And they convince themselves it doesn't matter, that missing one day won't change anything. But that's the first lie of failure. Imagine you take out a piece of paper. Across the top, you draw 6 columns. In the first column, you write date. Then, in the next 5, you list the 5 most important things you should be doing every day. The 5 actions that, if done consistently, would move your life forward. It could be writing, studying, exercising, learning a skill, reading, or connecting with people. The details don't matter as much as the discipline. Now, for every day you do one of those actions, you give yourself +1 point. If you skip it, for any reason, you subtract 1, not 0. Not leave it blank, you lose a point. Because here's the truth. There's no such thing as standing still in life. You're either moving forward or falling backward. If you don't believe me, think about something you once knew well. Maybe a subject you studied in school or a skill you used years ago. Do you still remember it perfectly today? Probably not. Because when you stop practicing, you don't stay at the same level. You decline. That's what happens to your career, your relationships, your health, your goals, every part of your life. Failure doesn't happen when you try and fall short. It happens when you stop showing up. Now, here's where the scorecard becomes powerful and painful. When you start tracking your days, you'll see patterns emerge. You'll notice how often you break promises to yourself. You'll realize how easy it is to talk about goals and how rare it is to follow through. At first, you might laugh it off. It's just one missed day. But one day becomes 2, 2 becomes 10, and suddenly the life you imagine for yourself is miles away. Those little negative points add up quietly, and before you know it, your life is full of minus signs, negative energy, negative habits, negative progress. That's what I call the hidden formula for failure. You see, people think failure is external, a lost job, a failed business, a broken relationship. But failure begins long before the results show up. It begins in the small moments when you decide not today, when you choose comfort over progress, when you say I'll do it later, when you believe you can pause your growth and somehow stay the same. That's not how life works. You're either adding to your future or taking from it. Now, some people might say, but isn't that too harsh? Why not just skip the points? Because pretending that inaction doesn't cost you anything is exactly what keeps you stuck. Every time you skip a meaningful task, you rate not just losing time. You rate teaching your brain that giving up is okay. Let's make it concrete. Suppose you're an entrepreneur running a small clothing shop. Your 5 priorities might be: 1. Write a valuable social media post about your product. 2. Exercise for energy and clarity. 3. Study English or communication. 4. Research competitors and market trends. 5. Read a business book to grow your mindset. If you complete all 5 today, you're +5. Tomorrow, maybe you skip 1, you're +4. But then you miss 3 days in a row, and suddenly your total drops below 0. That's not just a number. That's a mirror of your discipline. And over weeks or months, that score reflects the direction of your life, success or failure. The most dangerous thing about failure is that it hides behind ordinary days. You don't wake up one morning of failure. You drift there slowly, quietly, one skipped action at a time. And the worst part? Most people never realize how far they've fallen until they try to start again and feel how weak their consistency has become. So, let's flip the script. If consistent neglect creates failure, then consistent effort, even small, creates transformation. Each time you complete one of those 5 actions, you're not just earning a point, you're rewiring your identity. You're proving to yourself that you're someone who follows through. Day by day, your score rises. So does your confidence. And one morning, you wake up realizing you built momentum, not because of motivation, But because of the quiet strength of daily discipline, success isn't dramatic. It's not glamorous. It's the accumulation of hundreds of small, invisible victories. Failure, on the other hand, is the slow decay that comes from ignoring them. There's a moment in everyone's life when you have to face your own numbers, your own pattern of choices. You might realize you've been negative for weeks, months, maybe years, and that realization can hurt. But that pain is also a gift. It means you're awake again. You can't fix what you refuse to measure. So today, I invite you to start. Draw the columns. Write your 5 priorities. Track them honestly. Every plus builds your future. Every minus erodes it. Over time, this little exercise becomes a reflection of your life itself, your energy, your habits, your growth. And as you keep scoring, something magical happens. You stop fearing failure because you finally understand it. You realize it's not a monster waiting at the end of the road. It's simply the result of neglecting what matters most. But when you know that, you can change it. You can choose to stop losing points. You can choose progress, even if it's slow. You can rebuild momentum, one small victory at a time. And when you look back months later and see a streak of positive days, you'll understand what real success feels like. Not luck, not perfection, but alignment between your values and your actions. That's the quiet reward of persistence. So yes, this was a guide to failure. But if you've listened this far, you already know the real secret. Every failure contains a map back to success. All it asks from you is awareness, honesty, and consistency. Start today. Score your life. Because tomorrow only rewards those who move forward.